Hello everybody, today's tour is a unique historic barge over in Canary Wharf, London E14. We're going to get right into the detail now. Right, the detail starts now and there's a lot of information to unpack, and I'm going to try to do this succinctly and in a very considered manner because there is so much information to communicate to you. It's easier if I do it in a couple of segments across this tour. So I'm going to start with what I'm standing in now. I'm going to talk about the area, I'm going to talk about the boat or the barge as we wander around on the point of view for tour. Then I'm going to talk about some costs at the end, just before the outro and then before I disappear. So what I'm standing on is a 30-metered Belgian paniched hulled barge, former barge, and it was purchased and completely rebuilt by its current owner around 7 years ago. The design, which is incredible, has been or was carried out by a company called Naval Martin, who are a highly specialised naval architectural firm. The work was carried out by SRF boat builders in the Netherlands, and it is the most incredible barge I think I've ever stepped foot on in the entire time I've owned Unique. It's a 30-metre barge called Thor, and we are currently sat moored in the Blackwall Basin moorings right by Canary Wharf. It's going up for sale for £500,000. We have got around about 17 to 1800 square feet. I don't have a floor plan just yet. That is going to be carried out. So when the listing is live, you'll be able to check the links below to have a look at the detail or have a look at more detail. And so yeah, 3 bedrooms, 3 shower rooms, all in extraordinary condition. We've got a dining area up in the wheelhouse, huge kitchen for the size of, for a barge. It is, I've seen the kitchens like this are twice the size of anything I've seen in certain apartments. A big open plan living space down the bottom there, and just an all-round fabulous home, whether it's going to be something that you could use for a full family residence or a London bolt hole. And that is the point I'm trying to communicate to people. This has been put together so well that this is one of those barges that makes absolute sense when it comes to living full-time on the water. What I'd really like to try to communicate to you, the viewer, the interested party, that this is not as daunting and as scary a prospect as some people would have you believe. Owning a boat, if a barge like this, if it's looked after, well maintained, and everything is kept in check, it is a real privilege to live in, on the water in something like this. Right, so Canary Wharf, let's start with the area. What can I tell you? Now, Canary Wharf, if you don't know London and you don't know Canary Wharf, it didn't exist around about 45 years ago. The regeneration started in the 80s and it's continued basically. It is a globally recognised iconic destination for lots of big businesses and brands, primarily in the banking and the law world, but there's plenty of other companies that are based here or have their headquarters here. It's a very secure, very nice part of town. It's quite quiet, believe it or not, for a cityscape. But what's really put Canary Wharf on the map is the transport links, which are excellent. You've got within 5 minutes walk from this barge, you've got the Elizabeth line, which gets you out to places like Greenwich, but most importantly, gets you out to Heathrow in around 50 minutes. You've got the DLR, the London DLR, which is right in the middle of the shopping centre with all its high-end brand retail outlets. That gets you back out to south to places like Greenwich, but also gets you into Bank in the city. And then you've got the Jubilee line on the tube network, which will take you out to, amongst other places, London Bridge to connect up with the Northern line. It is a super convenient, really well connected area. But if you have an office here or you're based here for work, that's why this barge does make a huge amount of sense, because you can literally just fall out of bed into work. And last but not least, you've got London City Airport, which is only a couple of minutes on the DLR as well, or you can just hot foot it over in an Uber, but you'll be there in a couple of minutes, and you've got lots of very well connected, or lots of European destinations you can reach very easily from the barge. Right, welcome to the Blackwall Basin moorings. You see some of the other barges that that Thor, the one I'm standing on, cozied up against. The lock to the River Thames is just over there, and just through that gap, hopefully you can make out, there's Millennium Dome. There's the rest of the marina, and then backdrop of Canary Wharf. Reminds me of Dubai. And actually we've got a fabulous day to come and see something like this. And some of the other neighbouring barge is on my left. Now this particular barge has been designed in a way that allows for any future owners to create more outdoor terrace space. These two upper decks here, or these two upper parts here, the wheelhouse there and that the lower portion there, have been steel. They're made of steel basically. They're reinforced steel. So if you wanted to add additional terracing, you could put some railings along the side, and that would double up nicely as more outside space, catering for chairs and basically people wandering around. And you might see the odd person wandering around. The owner's got builders here, and he's just having some works done. He's having some maintenance works. All of the paintwork you can see has all been re-enamelled at huge cost. It is really very high quality, very expensive enamel paint that's been used to repaint the outside. And that there is a sliding roof, which we'll see as we go downstairs, and that slides back to allow more sunshine, natural light in during the summer. So I'm not going to try and wander around and walk and talk at the same time, because that will end up with me in the water, because I can't concentrate on three things at once. So I'm going to head down there over to the wheelhouse, and we're going to head inside. Welcome to the wheelhouse, and I'll start at, this is starting up top I should say, on the top deck. This is a big room, nice and bright, courtesy of these gorgeous double glazed Iroko wood framed windows, double glazed windows with 6 layers of lacquer. If you're not familiar with Iroko wood, they're hugely hard wearing. It's a hugely hard wearing wood used for environments that are prone to the elements, and with that lacquer layer on, they should be good for 100 years. You can see down there, hopefully that's one of the air conditioning units. The barge is fully air conditioned. This room is the steel room, a steel built room at the top part of the barge. All of the walls internally are spray foam insulated, so very energy efficient. There's Amtico floor in this room, along with all of the other residential rooms within the barge. That trapdoor there leads down to the big diesel engine, which we'll go and have a look at. Right, so that's the hatch. That gets us into the bowels of the boat, where we've got this engine room set up, and the attention to detail down here is phenomenal, to the point where this room has even got its own radiator to just keep the engine to a point where it's not going to get not going to full of condensation, because it's in obviously a cooler part of the boat. These are the two big diesel tanks there that have been installed. This is the engine. If you're mechanically minded and you're into that sort of thing, it's a refurbished Jute engine. It's German. There's that radiator over there, but it's very well appointed and very well laid out, and all very sensible from an operational point of view. Let's head upstairs. Now on the back of the boat, a barge, should keep calling it a barge, sorry. On the back of the barge, we have this separate self-contained room. Another air conditioning unit there, kitchen space. Now the thinking behind this was, if the owners ever had guests or family visiting, this is a completely self-contained room that somebody could quite happily just sort of plonk themselves away for days and days at a time. So it's a fully functioning, almost like a small, very fully functioning studio flat. Gas hob there, electric oven. That is a washing machine there. That is a fridge there. Nice polished concrete countertop there for the kitchen. That corner sofa actually doubles up as a super king size bed when required. Dining area. More Antico flooring in here. Lots of storage. That hatch there just leads down to parts of the hull, which was earmarked for a little pull-up wine cooler. Never got as far as installing that. And last but not least, a shower room with loo, fully tiled, basin. It's a nice room and nice tiles actually. So it's a very, very stylish space everywhere. I mean, there has, as I said in the intro, no expense spared on this. Right, let's head across and go down to the main event, which I absolutely love this room. It is enormous. So to start us off, we've got a very big kitchen, 1.5 bowl sink there. This Rangemaster oven and hob is fabulous. 5-ring gas top there. You've got a heated plate, double oven, double warming trays. That's a dishwasher there. More storage, and these are great. You've got a pair of pull-out fridge and freezer units there, nice and neat. More storage here by the breakfast bar countertop, and in case you were wondering, the housing for the washer and dryer units are both behind these click and lock doors. Now above we've got this tongue and groove style ceiling. It's not, I don't believe this is wood, this is like a composite, and it was done purposely to keep the boat or barge as maintenance free as possible. I think in older boats they tend to go, they can rot and they can go a bit mouldy because of the damp that can occur within these larger vessels. Now I would say at this point, because of the way that the boat has been put together with these windows, you've got Cat 6 cabling, and the whole setup is a smart system. So every single room in the barge has got zoned underfloor heating. So what that means is, to anybody who's interested, is that you don't get, and if you are a boat owner you'll understand this, but you don't get that classic sort of condensation that can occur during winter months. You just don't get it because of the way that this has been insulated and put together with the windows and the underfloor heating. Just, if you can make out there's another trap door there, that's more effectively cellar storage. And then we've got these large wide open steps leading down, and they've just made a little infill cushion there. Even the cat gets its own little cupboard. That's all the cat litter trays in there, so that's nicely tucked away if you've got a cat. And that ladder, you may have noticed the hatch up to the main deck, that ladder does come out if you want it. That's not fixed basically. And you've got all these porthole windows everywhere. They're so nice. I'm not sure if they were part of the original boat and they're just being reinstated, but they really look the part. There's loads of them, they're everywhere. Over on that wall there is a TV that's built into the wall and nicely hidden away when it's not required. This is the big sliding hatch that I mentioned at the outset. That's the whole thing slides back when required, and you can have it open for summer. And we'll just turn around and you can get a real sense of the scale, the volume available. It really is a great room, really good entertaining space. More of this antico flooring around me. And then heading to the front, we've got more storage. Another shower room. Let me just get the light on in there. Another shower room, similar style to the one at the back. Wet area, fully tiled floors and walls. And this room here, and I love this old, it feels like you're on a submarine, but this old door is great, and it weighs a ton. And double cabin at the front of the boat, access hatch there. And I'm going to head back very leisurely across the floor here, and I'm going to take you to the master suite, which is just down this little set of steps here, where on my left we have a loo. So this is quite neat. This doubles up as a guest loo for visitors, but because of its positioning next door to the master cabin, it's easily accessible for the occupants. More porthole windows, and this has got its own ensuite tiled walls, tiled floor, deep bath, nice big corner shower cubicle. Even the mirrors, even the mirrors in this place are heated. So again, avoiding that condensation. Plugs have got the USB socket connectors with them, and just some of the stuff that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily take into account straight away. But the loos, for example, there's more storage here. You've got air and cupboard storage for your sheets and towels. But even the 3 marine toilets on board are the most expensive you could possibly buy. And why is that important? Because when you refurbish a boat, you could put in things at a less cost, but they tend to be things that aren't necessarily designed to be used on boats. Boats rock, they bob around on the water, things twist, and if you haven't got the right pipe work and it's not designed specifically for boats, you're going to get, over the course of time, things that are going to corrode, they're going to wear, and they're going to break and consequently leak. So everything on this boat has been paid, or the expense is huge because it has been designed very much with marine life in mind. So there we are. Right, let's talk about costs. And the obvious one, and I'll try and bash through these quickly because otherwise it can get a little bit, we can go a bit number blind, but the obvious saving is stamp duty. There is no stamp duty on boats at all. So if you compare this to purchasing a bricks and mortar property, you'll make a huge saving in that respect, quite significant, especially if this is being purchased as a second home or a London bolt hole. So that's one thing to consider. Mooring, the marina is operated and run and looked after by the Canals and Rivers Trust, so it's a government-backed organisation. The mooring on this currently works out at around about £21,000 per annum. That's based on the length of the boat, but also bear in mind the way that the procedure kicks in. If you wanted to purchase this and continue the mooring here, you would have to go into like an online sort of auction bid in order to secure the place to continue ownership and continue to keep the boat moored exactly where it is. So yeah, he currently pays around about £21,000 a year mooring. That includes water. Heating is all done via the engine. Now the engine's an interesting point. It's a stripped back, completely refurbished German engine on the boat, and it comes with two newly added diesel tanks that collectively cost around about £1,200 to fill up. Now, if you decide to not use this barge on the open water, it is a fully operational working barge. You can take this out into the river, you can take it out into the channel if you want. It's very seaworthy, but if you just decide to use it just to operate and run the heating side of things, that should be very, very inexpensive. The total cost, or average cost per month to if you spread it across the course of years, around about £250, and that includes things like brown water, waste and that sort of thing. So it's quite efficient and relatively inexpensive, and the heating is on pretty much all year round. It's difficult to obviously to convey it while I'm sat here, but it's a blue sky sunny day in London, but it's chilly and it feels very warm, very toasty, very well insulated and cozy in here. So that's a good thing. Other notes. Now on the maintenance, ongoing maintenance on the side of things here, this should be a very, very easy barge to own, mainly because it was brand new 7 years ago. But secondly, generally speaking, a barge like this should come out of the water every 7 years, and that will just take care of things like the hull being checked and surveyed, any painting, anything that needs doing will be done, and it's back in the water. Last time it came out was December last year, and that was at a cost of £18,900. But what that included was all of the refurbishment works. The boat was re-enamelled from the underneath as well. I think new anodes were put in, so it is good for another 7 years at least. So that's worth bearing in mind. So you won't have to do that for another 7 years, but that's at cost of today's pricing on boat refurbishments. That's where the cost is there. Other than that, there isn't a huge amount of continual financial stuff that you'll need to really worry about. I mean, everything else is self-contained. Gas bottles. I mean, gas bottles are, you can use as much or as little gas as you want. I think the gas is just used really mainly for the hobs on the on the barge itself. So that a decent sized gas bottle, which I think is around about £100 these days, a big one, should last you for a considerable amount of time, because all the heating, the real heavy duty stuff, is done by the engine. So that I hope concludes the cost element of it. Right then, that's the tour taken care of. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for giving me a bit of your time today to watch this unique tour. And if you are interested and you like the look of it, you can please get in touch. Simon@uniqueproperty.tv is the email. 0203 987 1739 is the phone number, and uniquepropertycompany.co.uk is the website to find us at, where you will be able to find more details as well. If you do like this and you do fancy life on water and you want to see or understand a bit more of its history and journey, there is a Channel 4 series from a few years ago called My Floating Home, which this featured on, and you get to meet the designers, the architects, and the people who built it together. So I'll find all the links that I can. I'll drop them in the description box below, and any comments, as usual, anything you would like to throw in that I may have missed out innocently, but it may have missed out, please drop me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Equally, if you'd like to view it, you can drop a comment below and I'll respond to you as soon as I can. Now, don't forget, if you are looking for a unique home in London or the southeast, please get in touch. We'd more than happily, between myself and my colleagues, we'd be more than happy to try and help you on your unique property journey. And equally, if you are thinking of selling something that's a bit head scratching for the mainstream agents in your area, perhaps give us a shout. We would love to be able to help you, and certainly give you some free advice on how to sell or rent your unique home. So that's me done and dusted for now. I look forward to seeing you on the next tour. Until then, bye for now, take care.